Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be doing our Unit 10 review to prepare for our test that we're taking tomorrow. Like always, we're going to do the examples column, and then I'm going to leave the practice up to you. So first one, find the area, and I even give you the formula here. So this is a triangle, 1/2 base times height. In this picture, base is 7, but height has to be perpendicular to the base. So this part is height, and we don't know what that is yet. So we're going to have to use Pythagorean theorem to figure that out. I'm going to label it as an H. So to figure this out, usually it's going to be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So let's put that together. 7 squared plus h squared equals 18.2 squared. But I want to isolate the h. So I know I'm going to have to do square root because I'm going to take that squared off. And then this 7 would have to move over to the other side, and I would do that by subtracting. So 18.2 squared minus 7 squared. And this is going to give us our height. Let me type this into the calculator. And I am getting 16.8. Okay, that's what we're going to use for our height. So now to find our area, 1/2, the base is 7, and the height is 16.8. Okay, and I got 58.8. And this triangle, they are measuring by feet, so this is going to be square feet. Okay, problem number 3. Find the area of the sector. And again, the formula is already there. So it's the regular circle formula, pi r squared, but I only want the shaded area, so we need to know how many degrees. So see how it tells us right here, 150 degrees? That is our x. And then right here is our radius, so we're going to plug that in. So we have everything we need. We're just going to put it all together. 150 over 360 times pi times radius squared. So what I'm actually going to do here is, what if I multiply everything except for pi? So I'm going to leave pi there. So I'm already going to write the pi. But what if I multiply everything else? So 150 over 360 times 12 squared. And that gives me 60. So if I wanted an exact area, 60 pi square feet is a valid answer. And the test that you're taking tomorrow, that's how they leave their answer. But if you want an exact decimal, you can actually multiply by pi. So 60 times pi. That ends up being, so I'm going to do a wiggly equal sign, approximately 188.5 square feet. So both of these are correct answers. It's just like I said, I know on the test tomorrow it's going to be in that format. Okay, number 5, find the area of the composite figure. So it doesn't have any dotted lines or anything like that, so you're going to have to figure out the two shapes to use on your own. To me, the easiest way to split this up is to cut it right here. So this shape on the top, so I'm going to label this A, that's a rectangle. So all I would have to do is base times height. So 4 times 5. And that gives me 20. Then this bottom portion down here, that's a trapezoid. So area of a trapezoid, I'm going to write the formula, is 1/2 height, base 1 plus base 2. So let's see if I have everything. 1/2. Its height would just be this part. So I know that the entire height is 10, and then we know from previous that this part is 5. So it kind of makes sense that the height of the trapezoid is also 5. Okay, and then now our bases. I know 12 because that is on the bottom. But then the other base would be this part, which is going to be 4 because it's the same as the top of that rectangle. Okay, so now let's find out what all of that is. So 1/2 times 5 times parentheses 12 plus 4. And that gives me 40. Okay, so if I want area of the whole thing, I'm just going to do 20 plus 40, the area of the two pieces, which gives me 60. And they're measuring in square feet. Okay, number 7, find the area of the shaded region. Okay, so on this one, looks like a long rectangle, and then there's 3 circles that we're going to need to subtract. So let's start with the rectangle. I would need to do base times height. So do we have those two things? So I don't have anything labeled on the outside, but this is going to be easy to figure out because you see how this radius is 5? That means that all the way across here would be 10. So I'm going to do it like this, like all the way across from that circle would be 10, but there's 3 of them. So that means that the entire base is 30. Okay, and then when it comes to the height, we're going to do the same thing because radius is always 5 no matter what direction it goes in. So that means that if I were to draw my diameter going this way, 5 and 5 makes 10. Okay, so the area of that rectangle is 300. Okay, but now let's look at those circles. Okay, so a circle is pi r squared, and we have our radius. Radius is 5. So I'm just going to plug that in. It would be pi times 5 squared, so essentially 25 pi. Okay, so to figure out just the shaded region, we need to do rectangle minus 3 of the circles. So I'm going to do 300 minus 3 times 25 pi. And then we're going to get a decimal, but that should be our answer. And I get 64.4 square centimeters. Okay, example number 9, find the area. So this is a regular polygon. This is our formula, 1/2 apothem times perimeter. So I have the apothem, as long as you have that right angle, so that's A. But I need to find perimeter. I know that one side is 13.3, because we see that labeled at the bottom. And this shape has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. So the perimeter is 106.4. So now that I have both things that I need, I can find the area. 1/2 16 times 106.4. Okay, and I'm getting 851.2 square centimeters. Okay, example number 11. It's also finding the area of a regular polygon, but this one's going to take us a little bit more work. So I need apothem and perimeter. So that 8.5, I have a right angle, so that is the apothem, that's A. But it's going to be hard for me to find perimeter when I don't even know the length of any of the sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a triangle within our triangle, so just like that. So in that triangle, I know that triangles are 180. So in our original big triangle, this would be 60 degrees, this would be 60 degrees, and so at the top. But since it's getting split in half, it's 30 and 30. So this is a 30, 60, 90. I have the short side, like A, that 8.5 is the short side. So if I want to find this part here, that's the long side of that triangle. So I'm going to just label that as X. So X equals the short side, 8.5 times square root of 3. Now, if I wanted to find perimeter of the entire triangle, I would need to multiply by 2, because that's like double the size, and then there's 3 sides. So what I'm going to do actually to find perimeter is I have 8.5 square root 3. If I times it by 2, that's one of the sides, but then this triangle has 3 sides. So 8.5 times 2 times 3 gives me 51. So our perimeter is 51 square root 3. Okay, so now I have perimeter and I have my apothem. I can find my area. 1/2 8.5 51 square root 3. And I left it with the square root because we always try to round at the end. Square root 3. Okay, and I get 375.4. Okay, next one, the pentagons below are similar. Find the area of the smaller pentagon. So between these two, the smaller one is that first one. So I'm just going to say that's A, like area. So first we set up our scale factor. So it's 8 to 24. We square those numbers. And then we set it equal to the ratio of the areas. Now, since we're trying to find a smaller area between these two numbers, 8 is smaller. So the A is going to go here. Then I know the area of the bigger one is 135. So we are going to end up with some big numbers to begin with, but we're going to simplify it. We're using our calculator, so we'll be fine. So I'm going to cross multiply in that direction first. 24 squared times A gives me 576A. Okay, now multiplying the other direction, 8 squared times 135 gives me 8,640. We want A to be by itself, so let's divide by 576. And A equals 15. So the area of the smaller one is 15 square centimeters. Okay, and then our last problem, number 15, if the squares below are similar, find the value of x. So we're going to set this up the same way. So normally we look at our scale factor, but that's where x is at. So I'm going to have 7 squared over x squared. Then equals their areas. Make sure you put the 50 with the 7, so that means 50 needs to be on top, 30 on the bottom. Okay, so cross multiplying, I'm going to do this direction first. So 50x squared equals, and then now let's go this direction. 7 squared times 30 gives me 1,470. Let's divide by 50. So x squared equals, it's going to be a decimal, 29.4. And then we're going to square root. X equals 5.4. And that's just going to be feet. Okay, and that's it for our examples. Go ahead and try to do all of the practice problems. And remember that you have a test tomorrow.